In the spirit of Christmas, I bring you more Breonna Taylor stuff. Okay? The gift that keeps on giving. Breonna Taylor. So now they've created some animation situation.
Police investigation on March 13th is not Taylor's apartment, but properties 10 miles away in West Louisville.
Metro Police! Hands behind your back, boss. We're executing a search warrant. Come out!
Where dozens of SWAT and police officers arrest an ex-boyfriend of Taylor's and his associates and seize evidence including drugs. These officers are wearing their body cameras and they carry out the raid safely and without incident. What the SWAT team doesn't know is that at this time, a hastily assembled team of narcotics officers is about to raid Taylor's home across town. They suspect her ex-boyfriend keeps cash or drugs there, but their intel is poor. They don't know she has a new boyfriend, and they think she lives alone. When 7 officers begin the raid at 12:40 a.m., they notice the lights are off, except for the flicker of a TV in a bedroom.
The light on the bedroom, the TV. I remember seeing it lit up blue, or when we pulled up.
Suggesting they know where Taylor is. In less than 3 minutes, she would be fatally shot. Inside, Taylor had dozed off while watching a movie with her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker. Adjacent is the bedroom of Taylor.
Here's a typical trick they use. I want you guys to understand. They use someone with a foreign accent to legitimize it. One thing, Americans, we give a lot of gravitas and credence to people with foreign accents. So they'll use somebody with a foreign accent. Usually it's a British accent. But in this case, I can't tell what accent. It sounds like maybe a guy from South Asia or something. Maybe a Brit from South Asia. But they'll use somebody with a foreign accent to make it seem like they know what they're talking about. This guy, I want you to understand that this is just a guy. He has no idea what he's talking about. He's just reading. They just use the guy with a foreign accent to give it an air of prestige, an air of legitimacy. Because they know if it had just a guy with an American accent, you wouldn't be awed by it. So I just want you guys to notice that while you're listening to this.
Begin the raid at 12:40 a.m. They notice the lights are off, except for the flicker of a TV in a bedroom.
The light on the bedroom, the TV. I remember seeing it lit up blue, or when we pulled up.
Suggesting they know where Taylor is. In less than 3 minutes, she would be fatally shot. Inside, Taylor had dozed off while watching a movie with her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker. Adjacent is the bedroom of Taylor's sister, but she's not home. A hallway from the bedrooms leads to a living area, and the apartment's entrance is in this breezeway. The only light is this lamp opposite her door, where now the police begin to stack. In this reconstruction, we hear the official testimonies given by the 2 officers nearest the door, Mattingly and Nobles, Cosgrove, who's providing cover, and Hoover and Hankinson beside them. And we'll hear from neighbours and Kenneth Walker, who was interviewed by police right after the shooting.
When we all got up in line, I knocked on the door, banged on it.
Just as Mattingly begins to knock, a man emerges from the apartment directly above. He doesn't live there, but is picking up his child after finishing work.
The door right there, that's why the babysitter leave. So I can go pick up my little girl.
A squabble with Detective Brett Hankinson ensues, and already the team seems on edge.
I remember Brett extending his gun saying, "Get back in your apartment, get back in your apartment." Brett was a little bit worked up. I remember looking at Brett saying, "Brett, relax. Brett, just relax, relax."
The man retreats inside. The police are supposed to be conducting a knock and announce raid, but that's not what Mattingly says happens at first.
We didn't announce the first couple because our intent was to give her plenty of time to come to the door.
Inside, Taylor wakes up.
So it's a loud bang at the door. She pops up out of sleep and scared her to death. Me too. Like, who is that?
Banged on the door, no response. Banged on it again, no response. At that point, we start announcing ourselves.
Whether the police announce themselves clearly enough is a critical issue in this story that we'll return to later on. Not knowing who's at the door this late, Walker grabs his licensed handgun.
Another knock at the door. She's like, who is it? Loud at the top of her lungs. No response. So I'm like, what the heck?
They rush to get dressed and walk toward the door.
Never even made it, like mid-hallway. But as loud as we were screaming to say who it is, I know whoever would be on the other side of the door could hear us.
Outside, some of the police do hear Taylor.
I can hear somebody inside. I kept telling John, I can hear her.
But after knocking and waiting for around 45 seconds, they decided they've given her enough time to respond and rammed the door open.
The last time, I just said, let's just hit it. And that's when we did the, police search warrant.
We'll show here what the police and Walker described seeing next.
And I hit it. After the third hit, it flew open. And that's when it hit the fan.
As we're coming to the door like comes off the hinges like an explosion.
The officers now make a tactical mistake. Mattingly steps into the doorway and puts himself in what police describe as the fatal funnel, a position vulnerable to gunfire and hard to move from.
I could see down the hallway, and there's the male and a female, side by side, shoulder to shoulder. Almost like they were together.
The apartment is lit only by the breezeway light that's coming from behind Mattingly and the faint glare of the TV in Taylor's bedroom.
You can't see anybody, though. It was dark. There was no lights.
Thinking it's an intruder, Walker aims low, shoots once, and hits Mattingly in the thigh.
I feel like I aimed down, because I wouldn't... Of course, I don't need to kill anybody, so I just let off one shot.
Mattingly immediately returns fire.
I got 4 rounds off, and it was like boom, 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 boom.
Then all of a sudden, there's a whole lot of shots.
Mattingly fires 2 more rounds when he falls and takes cover. Almost at the same time, Cosgrove moves in and fires, stepping on Mattingly in the process. He has now also put himself in the fatal funnel, and although he's shooting, he appears to have no idea what's happening.
I see blinding, vivid, white light and blackness at the same time. I don't hear any gunfire at all, ever. And I did not have any pain, sensation, or any recollection that I'm firing.
He continues shooting blindly until he runs out of ammunition, a total of 16 rounds.
If you told me I didn't fire a gun, I'd be like, okay, I believe you.
In response to Walker's shot, Mattingly and Cosgrove together fire 4 shots into a chair, cupboards, and a stove in the kitchen. 2 bullets go into the ceiling and pass through the living room in the apartment above, where the man, his 2-year-old daughter, and babysitter waited. 3 more shots go into the living room wall to the right, and the officers fire 13 rounds down the hallway where Taylor and Walker stood. Taylor is shot 6 times on both sides of her body, in the abdomen and chest, her arm and leg, and twice in her foot.
How did Kenneth Walker not get shot once? How was he not injured by shrapnel? Because, when bullets hit other objects, they break those objects and they send projectiles flying. Like, say a bullet was to hit a vase. Shards of that vase would just fly all over the place and scratch whatever they hit. How did he not get hit with anything? That's just bizarre. He's standing there. He has to be standing in this fatal funnel lane to have shot the cop. Unless he shot the cop from around the corner. Unless he was hiding behind this wall. This wall right here. Unless he was back here behind this wall. And he shot around the corner. But even then, bullets would go through the... He didn't get hit with anything. Nothing. He had no graze wounds, no shrapnel wounds. He had no bullet wounds, and she got hit 6 times, I think. I just don't understand that.
In all, these 2 officers fired 22 rounds in less than a minute. An FBI ballistics report found that both of them shot Taylor, and that one of the 16 rounds Cosgrove fired was the lethal bullet.
We both dropped to the ground, but I just hear her screaming,
Thinking they're under attack, some of the officers flee when they hear a pause in shooting.
There was a little bitty moment of no shots. I was like, here's the time to go, and then it all started up again.
We don't know the precise sequence of events, but Detective Hankinson runs to the front.
I can hear the firing as I'm making the corner. I can see the flashes, the muzzle flashes.
But the only ones shooting are police. Even though all the curtains are drawn, Hankinson blindly fires 5 bullets through the patio windows.
My only option was to return fire.
Now that guy's an idiot. Okay, Hankinson he got in trouble for that. He could have shot another officer. The officers could have been in there. He could have shot them. You just fire him. That's why that guy got in trouble. Okay, so we understand that. He got in trouble for that.
And I did that to the muzzle flashes.
He moves and fires 5 more rounds through the bedroom window of Taylor's sister, who isn't home. 2 bullets fly over Walker and Taylor, but none hits them. The bullets that go into the living area pass over Taylor's sofa and kitchen table and smash her clock. 3 penetrate the wall and enter her neighbour's apartment. Those bullets also smash the kitchen table, hit a wall, and shatter the patio doors at the rear. A pregnant woman, her son, and partner were home. Hankinson has been charged with wantonly endangering their lives. In total, the police fire 32 bullets, penetrating almost every room in Taylor's apartment. They hit saucepans, cereal boxes, and smash into her shower. They puncture shoes, shatter cleaning equipment, and land in her sister's clothing. And 3 minutes after police came to search her home, a fatally wounded Taylor is lying on the ground.
I'm just panicking and I'm telling somebody, I'm yelling help because she's right here bleeding and nobody's coming, and I'm just confused and scared, and I feel the same right now. That's it.
Okay, so listen, unfortunate, sad, and this is why you don't deal drugs. Because police do 20,000 of these no-knock warrants a year. Okay? 20,000 of them in this country. And they rarely in anybody getting shot, let alone the cop. Now, so like what I mean by rarely, out of the 20,000, less than 20 end up with someone being shot, either a cop or a perp. Okay? So we're talking about less than 0.1% of the no-knock warrants end up in anybody being shot. Okay? And that's just the no-knock warrants. Which there's a dispute whether this was that. Okay? So this is why you don't sell drugs. This is why you don't put yourself. I've been on the other side of one of these warrants before, as I told you guys. When they come in your house, when they storm your house, it's scary. I will give Breonna and Kenneth this. It's terrifying. All the gangster, all the hood, all the hustler come out of you. You're scared. Because they mean business. Okay? This is not like the get-along game. Okay? Warrants being served at your house. Because you're a drug dealer. Or because your house is a stash house. Or because a known drug dealer's using your address as his known address. Or there's surveillance at your house, and from the surveillance, police have gleaned that there's a reason to believe that your house is being used as part of a drug syndicate. Whatever the reason is, there's now a warrant being served at your house. For whatever reason. Okay? And it's not, and the one reason that it's not being served at your house is because you're black. That's the one reason it's not being served at your house. Okay? It's being served at your house for a lot of reasons. One of them is not because it's black. Because I'm tired of you black people acting like all y'all going through all these gangster things, like the police running up in your house. I know a lot of black people. A lot of black people. Okay? I'm not from some town that's 30% black or 10% black, or I grew up in a town that's 80% black. I know a lot of black people. When the feds run in your house, you were doing something. Now, can you beat it in court? Could you have got rid of everything? Could you say, man, that was so-and-so, that was Rodney stuff, man? Yeah, you can beat it, or you might not be nothing there at the time, but them niggas was hustling. The niggas I know that was, the ones I know that got their house running, they was hustling. I don't know anybody, unless it was a mistake, And I don't know. I've heard of the mistakes, but I don't know anybody who's had their, like, the police got the wrong address. You know what I'm saying? And ran. I don't know anybody that's happened to. I'm sure, but I know that that's happened. But that's rare. That's extremely. The odds of that happening to you are very low. They ran in this girl's house because she was a drug dealer. And this whole thing that you got to be standing on the corner, hand to hand in with crackheads and junkies in an alley somewhere, looking over your shoulders. If you ain't doing that, you're not a drug dealer. Well, if that's the case, they might as well end every ADX Supermax prison in the world. They might as well let El Chapo, they might as well let Griselda Blanco, they might as well let every big-time drug dealer, Rafer Edmond, they might as well let everybody out of jail. Because y'all trying to make it seem like unless you in a project hallway, hand to hand, and reaching in your crack of your butt crack to pull out a baggie full of dime rocks and getting $7 from a junkie and put the $7 in your pocket and giving the junkie the dime rock, you ain't a drug dealer. If that's the case, then empty every Supermax jail in this country. Because that's who's in there. A bunch of people that was not doing that. That was not on the corner, on the block, hand to hand and selling drugs. It was people who had drugs in their house, who used their drugs as a stash house, who had packages delivered to their house, who had money dropped off at their house, who were calling shots, making decisions in a drug ring, who were, renting cars and addresses and homes and all that stuff, and just the infrastructure, creating infrastructure for a drug ring or drug cartel or syndicate or whatever you want to call it. So yes, Breonna was not in the alley behind your house selling a crushed up, mashed up dime rock to a toothless crackhead at 1 o'clock in the morning for $8. $8 shriveled up dollars. Okay, she wasn't doing that. But that's not the only thing that constitutes drug dealing. And make sure you go watch episodes 1 through 11 and you'll see everything. We covered this extensively. No one covered it like us. Episodes 1 through 11. The links are going to be in the description box. The links to all those episodes are going to be in the description box, and they're going to be in a pinned comment in the chat. So make sure you go back and watch those and see everything that happened in full detail. No one covered this case like we did. Peace. I'm out.